So if we look at the time period of Abraham, if we look at what was going on during the end of the Ice Age, we see that this is the time of the worldwide flood, and Neanderthals also come out of their caves. This is also the time that Abraham leaves the land of Ur and he goes into the land of Canaan. And Neanderthal fossils can be found in Israel and Turkey that date back to the end of the Ice Age, the very same time that Abraham came into the land. So all of the Neanderthal fossils that can be found in caves in Israel and Turkey and the surrounding areas, they date back to the time of the end of the Ice Age, the very same time of the so-called Abraham. So the Bible says Abraham was born in the land of Ur. This is also known as the land of summer, or the land of the Chaldeans. And you'll notice that every time Abraham's birthplace is mentioned, it also says this is the land of the Chaldeans. And this is the exact same place in the land of Ur where the Sumerians, or the people of Ur, or the people of summer, who were Cushites, this is where the Cushites created a variety of species by genetically modifying and mingling animal and human DNA together, creating a variety of animalistic, human-like species. So we're told that Abraham is from the land of Ur, from the land of the Chaldeans. So Abraham and the seed of Abraham comes from the land of Ur. Even Abraham's father and his father. And if we go further back before Abraham all the way to Noah, we're told in the story of Noah that Noah and his family repopulates the earth, and Abraham comes from Noah, right? So even this story, this biblical story of Noah, is actually the story of Gilgamesh. This also comes from the Cushite account and the cuneiform tablets that come from the Cushites. So the very same people who were genetically modifying these creatures, and Abraham comes from the land of the genetically modified creatures, these very same people are the ones who give us the real flood account. And this real flood account speaks of Gilgamesh, who was a Cushite, and Enkidu, who was a half-human, half-beast-like creature. So again, the same people who are genetically modifying animals and human DNA in the land of Ur also give us the real flood story. And according to the Bible, this is where Abraham comes from the land of Ur. So we have to look at the big picture, and we have to see who Abraham really was. So let's examine some of the things that Abraham did when he first came into the land. Keep in mind that Abraham is a stranger in the land. And in Genesis 12, verse 13 through 20, you can see what Abraham did when he comes into the land of Egypt. He deceives the Egyptian king with his sister, who was also his wife. And what he does is, before he goes into Egypt, he talks to his wife and he says, look, when we get to Egypt, don't tell them that you are my wife. Just say you're my sister. So then he goes to Egypt and he basically is pimping out his sister and who is also his wife, and he's basically pimping her out to the Egyptian king. And in the end, Abraham's wife brings plague and disease and so many problems to the Egyptian household. So the Egyptian king sends to bring Abraham back to his house, and he asks Abraham, why did you lie to me? Why did you say that she was your sister, but she's your wife? And he said, well, she's my sister and my wife. And in the end, Abraham and his wife left with cattle and gold and silver, and they left Egypt rich. As the Bible says, Abraham left Egypt a rich man. So what does Abraham do? He does the same thing again, just a few pages later in the Bible. He goes into the land of Gerar, which is Israel. And once again, he uses his wife and pimps his wife out to the king of the land and brings plague and famine and disease to the land of Israel. And the king of Israel said the same thing to Abraham. Why did you lie to me and tell me she was your sister? And Abraham said the same thing again. She's my sister and my wife. So far, Abraham's only been in the land but a short time, and he's brought disease and plagues to the land of Egypt and Israel. And he's done this by deceiving the kings using his wife, who is his sister. Now, Abraham wasn't the only one in the Bible to practice incest. In fact, the whole Abrahamic bloodline was created from incest. And we can read in Genesis 19:29 through 30, we see that Lot has sex with his two daughters, giving birth to the Ammonites and the Moabites. After God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot leaves and he goes back to his cave with his two daughters. So I want to show you the association between the Abrahamic seed and the cave beasts, or the Neanderthals. Because remember that all of those Neanderthal fossils that can be found in the caves in Israel and Turkey, they all date to the time that Abraham came into the land. So the Bible tells us in Genesis chapter 23 that Abraham uses all of the gold and silver that he got from Egypt to buy a cave in Israel. He bought the cave from Ephron, the Hittite. Keep in mind that the Hittites are an Indo-European tribe that invaded the land of Hatti, aka Turkey, during the time that Abraham came into the land. So the Hittites are invaders as well. So again, we find the Neanderthal fossils in Israel and in Turkey, and we have a Hittite of Turkey selling the land or the cave to Abraham in Israel. Keep in mind that the land of Israel was Egyptian territory, and no Hittite invader had the right to sell any of the land in Israel. And if Abraham was a black man, why did he bury his dead in caves like the Neanderthals?